Building Society in the marketing team, and I look after the corporate and social responsibility, which is all the great work that the Nottingham does in the community. I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about my career journey, about how I got to where I am, and also some of the lessons that I've learned along the way. So in school, I quite enjoyed it. I liked a variety of topics. I was fairly academic. I didn't really try very hard, I have to admit, but I managed to do fairly well out of it, and I was quite arty and creative, so that was the way that I was tending to go. I was quite good at graphic design and some of the creative things, so I decided in school that I quite fancied going down that route, and I had a vague notion of wanting to work in marketing or in some creative industry like media. But I decided at 16 to leave school and go to sixth form college as opposed to stay on in the sixth form at the school. I wanted that little bit of freedom, but also I felt that with the subjects that I had chosen to do at A-level, so that was media, business and art history, that I would be better off going to a specialist college. So I packed off my bags and went off down the road to a proper sixth form college, which actually was a lot better for me. They treated you a lot more grown up than maybe what school would have done. Luckily I was fairly disciplined in my studies anyway, so it was a fairly easy transition for me, and I got a much greater breadth of experience as well in my studies and access to different teaching staff and things like that. Went away down to London a few times to go and visit different art schools and galleries down there. So it was a lot better for me, I think, than maybe staying on at school. However, halfway through my A-levels, I kind of realised that maybe going into an arty world wasn't maybe what I wanted to do. I really liked the creativity of it, but I wanted to do a subject that was maybe a little bit more academic, and just maybe using my brain a little bit more than just purely creating something visual. So quite close to the wire really, I decided at the end of my first year to drop my art subjects and take up sociology. I still had the ambition of working in a sort of marketing world, but maybe in a bit of a more business focused area. And I have to admit, I didn't really know a lot about roles in marketing at that point. It was just kind of a vague notion. And maybe at that point I should have done a little bit more research and asked a few more questions as to what that actually meant. My careers advice in school was pretty much non-existent. They just said, go and be a teacher or stained glass designer, I think was the other thing that they'd suggested off a little tick sheet exercise that I had one afternoon with the careers advisor. Neither of which particularly appealed to me and definitely didn't influence my my choices at all. And teaching is quite a popular vocation to go down, but it wasn't necessarily the one that I wanted as a lifelong career. So I switched my A-levels and applied to university to do, I'd already started the university application, so I switched for an art-based degree. So I switched my application over to the University of Wales, which is where I was living at the time, and decided to do a business management and media communications degree instead of Bachelor of Arts. So I completed that, I got a 2-1. I really enjoyed university. I worked hard and reaped the benefits of it as well. I really enjoyed my studies, and I enjoyed obviously being with different people and all the socialising that goes with it. But I don't think university is for everyone, and I had a lot of friends in university who probably shouldn't have been there, but were just kind of pushed down that route because they didn't really know what they wanted to do, or the vocational options weren't necessarily there. It's quite different to how it is now. There's a lot more variety in terms of qualifications and a lot more vocational qualifications as well, which for some people is a lot more suitable than the purely academic route. So I left university with a 2-1 and was really lucky. I got a job within a matter of weeks. I applied for a number of different graduate positions, didn't get any of those unfortunately, but I did get a job locally working for a small organisation in more of a business development role. It started off as a temporary role in administration, and then it quickly moved into a permanent role. I got the job that I wanted. And I was there for a couple of years, but I had a little bit of a hankering for travel and decided that I wanted to go and have a gap year, which 2 years after you've left university is maybe a bit of an odd decision. Most people tend to go for it after university or maybe a little bit later on in their career. But 2 years after, I felt like it was probably the right time for me. I had quite a lot of work experience. I'd worked all the way through university as well. So I had that little bit of experience under my belt, which was good in the long run, I think, especially when I came back to this country, I had that experience. So I did a little bit of research into what I could go and do as a gap year. And at the same time as well, I found out that I was being made redundant because the business I was working for had been sold to another organisation and my job was no longer. So I knew I was going to be looking for another job in the next 3 to 6 months anyway, so it kind of gave me that little push I needed, I guess. Went off and did a bit of research and settled on going abroad to go and teach English as a foreign language, which is a fairly common gap year vocation. Fairly easy to get into, qualifications are relatively easy. They look for graduates with a British degree and obviously English as a first language or fluency as a second language. And I did a bit of research and decided that I thought I'd start in Europe, and went to go and apply for some roles in Portugal and Greece, and got offered a job in Lisbon in Portugal. So I flew there in the September 2 years after I left university on a 9-month contract and ended up staying for just over 2 years. I had a fantastic time. It gave me a lot of great work experience and really valuable transferable skills, and I think definitely to somebody that's starting their career, the best advice I would give you is to take up opportunities, no matter how insignificant you think they may be, because all that experience, whether it be through volunteering or through a paid job, no matter how insignificant you think it may be, that could be the difference between you and another candidate that's got a very similar CV in terms of your academic qualifications or achievements at school. In terms of transferable skills, things like speaking in front of people, being able to work in a team, being able to use your initiative and being resilient to things that can go wrong. I remember a number of instances when I came back to this country to work and had interviews where I was able to offer examples of experience that I'd gained from working abroad and demonstrate some of those behaviours of working in a team, and also ways that you can respond to situations when things don't go as well as what you hope. So I came back to this country and got a job in financial services with a large organisation. I was there for a few years and then moved on to an American organisation where I was doing business development and a little bit of marketing with quite a bit of international travel. So that went on for a little while, and then again it was a case of got made redundant because that role was going back to America. And so I ended up temporarily working for a organisation that did point of sale displays on projects. Again, a lot of the transferable skills that I'd gained from previous roles where I had no experience in point of sale at all. So that's like things that you would find in shops at the side of displays and to encourage you to buy things. Had no experience in that, but was transferable skills in terms of project management and people skills that I was able to bring over from past roles. So I worked there for a little while. And then came to work at the Nottingham, and again, thinking about those transferable skills, I'd gained quite a bit of marketing experience, a lot of business development experience, pricing experience, so lots of different aspects of marketing, and came to work in the product team at the Nottingham, and eventually went to go and work in PR and communications, and helped to set up our CSR programme, our corporate and social responsibility programme, as it is now. And 5 years ago took on this role full time to manage the programme. So I use lots and lots of different skills that I've gained throughout my career. A lot of networking, communication, being able to disseminate information, find solutions to problems, all really, really common behaviours and experiences that you can gain from a number of different roles. And I think another piece of good advice to give you is that obviously at the moment things are quite difficult. The pandemic's definitely changed the way that I work. I'm used to going out and seeing a lot of people, both in our business, in our branch network, and also in the community as well. That's changed. We're doing things remotely. Our volunteering, for example, has gone from face-to-face. So normally I would come into a school and be able to talk to students and deliver activities face-to-face. We can't do that anymore, or not temporarily at least, but not at the moment. So a lot of it has gone virtual and digital. And I think having the flexibility to be able to run with the situation is probably key to being successful at the moment. Obviously, for young people leaving school and going into further education or even employment, it's a very uncertain time at the moment. But I think the biggest lesson I think is that things don't last forever. This won't be the case forever. There will be hope in the future for brighter times and better times, and I think anybody that is able to see that will maybe use this little bit of downtime to pick up some skills, to generate some experience, albeit a couple of days here and there volunteering maybe. It's things that you're able to reflect on and glean some really valuable insight into how things work, things that you like or don't like about yourself and the way or work, and also give you some really, really strong examples and practical experience that you're able to talk about at interviews, whether it be for an education place or for employment. And these are things that will really, really help you in years to come as well. It's not just about now, the next few months, it's over the next few years. If anything, this pandemic will teach a lot of young people resilience, because it won't be very easy to go and just walk into a job. That those days are not at the moment. And likewise with education, there's a lot of competition out there. So things that you can do to make yourself stand apart through experience, life experience, and the way that you're able to reflect on that and articulate that, I think will definitely stand you in great stead. I hope that's been really useful, and I look forward to working with you a little bit more.